Hey, folks, welcome to the Accessible Hunter podcast. I'm Greg Trainer along with my partner, Mike Hudson. And we got our buddy Dan Burns on from Nevins Hunting Friends today. And we're going to be talking with Dan about the upcoming pheasant hunt and how his season's going. But, Mike, what's going on in South Carolina, brother?
Oh man, we're just living the dream over here, man. We've got a little bit of a cold snap coming in, got some good rain. Deer are moving, and we went through a spurt where everybody and their brother were seeing them chase, and then all of a sudden it cut off. We had some heat come in, and now it's changing back up. I think we're going to get to ours runs to like January 3rd, where we always have a spurt where the deer just cut off for a little while, and then they'll get right back to chasing. So I'm hoping that's where we're at right now. This weekend's supposed to be wet. Um, and I got my qualms, Part of me says get in the woods. It doesn't matter if it's raining or not. Deer doesn't care, so neither should I.
Well, you've been out hunting a couple of times. I've seen some of your pictures and videos. And have you had some opportunities around the house there, or
Man,
what are you seeing?
where we're hunting at right now, we've got the guys, and it's weird. So at my house, we don't have any pigs. We don't have any of that. The property we're hunting is about an hour and 15 away. A lot of hogs, and we're seeing wild dogs. We're seeing everything in their brother, and that's been spooking the deer. So
Wow.
every deer we've seen has either been getting bumped, or a lot of does, and I just been letting the does pass right now, just trying to hold out for something. But I think we're going to start going ahead and taking care of some of the doe population too.
Fortunately, here in PA, we don't have a wild hog problem. So that's one good thing, at least in my area. But we'll get into that. Dan, what's going on up in you're in Butler County, up a little bit north of me.
Yeah, yeah, I'm about an hour north of you. We got lots of snow on the ground, and deer are moving. Because you can see them, and hunters can see them, and it's pretty busy up here.
Well, snow on the ground's good for you because I know you do a lot of plowing and
That's
that,
it.
that that kind of stuff too. So we're hoping you get a little bit more snow so you stay busy.
It's snowing right now. I was out this morning.
And
Wow.
you're also doing some deer processing. Have you got any nice bucks in, or what's the forecast
Yeah,
up your way?
yeah. There's been a few big bucks come in. I'd say probably about a dozen of them. Legal bucks, real big ones. Some are 16, 18 inches wide. I mean, they're pretty nice deer. Um,
Yeah.
none of them are mine, but I'd like to. I get to see them anyhow.
There you go.
Exactly.
Hunting in the snow's just got something different, man. It's always like a renewal. Getting out in the blind and seeing it and just watching the animals move. I always enjoy that. But being from the South, we don't get that often.
Hmm.
You had said it's cold down in South Carolina, Mike. What do you consider cold this morning? We'll compare.
Well, yeah, no, we're not PA. Right now, like this morning, it was in the 20s, and then we'll stay right there. Usually in South Carolina, we'll get in the teens, and we'll stay around that area some. But our weather's just been really crazy the last couple years, and we'll jump back up to like 50. And
Wow.
yeah, I mean, get some kind of consistency and let it go.
I think this morning it was in the low 20s, and I think the high today is going to be about 31. And I picked this week to shave my beard off. I noticed that you're kind of clean shaven this week too, Mike. And
Yeah, man.
you know,
Yeah.
I usually use the Trapline Beard Oil Vanilla Bourbon scent, and I'm kind of missing that this morning. And we shaved last night, so I'm all cleaned up for Christmas. I usually take the beard off for the month of December and then grow it back for the new year. But it might be a cold week this week not having my beard.
There you go. We're gonna have to get on Dan's page, man. He's got that scruff going on, and we missed out the whole no shave November, man. We failed on
That's
that
it.
avenue.
It's too cold up here. I'll keep my face warm.
There
There
you
you go.
go. I
Now,
don't blame you, man.
Dan, we've had you on this show, a bunch of times, and you're a good friend to us, and we do a lot of projects together. But for the folks that may not be familiar with Nevins Hunting Friends or following your website and things, I know you've had the charity about 11 years or so, and You want to, tell us a little bit about charity and introduce yourself to the folks that don't know you?
Well, I'm Dan. I'm actually Nevin's dad. Way back in the day, back in 2013, Nevin went on a hunt and for deer and was unsuccessful. And then, just to make a long story short, they invited him back for turkey season and trying to go for the next hunt, and the landowner passed away. So Nevin wanted to help other kids. With disabilities as well as because somebody helped him. So he wanted to return the favor. And, we started out and we took out 4 kids along with Nevin 11 years ago. And it's been growing ever since. And now back then we only did turkey and deer, 2 events a
Mm.
year. And now we're doing 9 events a year, and we do 20 kids at a time. So it is growing. We are a 501c nonprofit corporation, so it's grown mad. I mean, it's a full-time job just to keep everything going. But I can't do it without like yourself, as a podcast, you and Mike helped me out quite a bit, and other sponsors that are out there. We got major hunting sponsors. And I can't thank them enough because you can't do it without them. It's too hard to do.
Right.
So yeah. So and we're starting to involve others this year. We take out disabled kids ages 7 to 17, and I can't tell you the amount of times that I got the question of, "Hey, I'd like to sign up, but I'm 19, I'm 20," and then I got to say, "Hey, I'm sorry. We only take the kids that are youth because we follow the youth program in Pennsylvania. So we go on the youth days, segregated youth days, and that sort. So with that being said, we decided. I talked to the board, and we're going to start doing a adult pheasant hunt this year. Started out as pheasant. And then, if it escalates from there, we might do some others. We'll see what happens and see how it goes. But I put the application out on social media, and I think that was about a month ago. After I talked to um, you guys, and I I got 18 responses already. So
Okay.
I'm hoping for like 20.
Yeah.
But it's going to be challenging. When you're taking a kid out, you're trying to educate them.
Right.
So it's a little bit different. Adults, on the other hand, if they have they were out before and now their illness has stopped them, so they kind of know the basics of hunting. There's some guys that don't. They've been out. They're going out for the very first time. But there's others that are, used to it. We're just assisting them and getting them out. Our motto for taking kids out is take them out there, put a smile on their face no matter what happens. If they get a harvest, that's extra special. So
Right.
when we're going to take the adults out, they're going to be tickled pink, and basically all of us guys are going to have the smiles because they're just going to be they're going to be smiling just to get out of the driveway, So, but
Ac-
we're trying to get better and do more things for other people, and we're trying to help and do whatever we can to get them out there.
So Dan, you guys are in a very unique position too, and you didn't mention it, but I will, that it's not a one and done on these hunts for the 7 to 17-year-olds. You're one of the few organizations that, lets these hunters hunt that entire span. Whenever you're doing a hunt, you take them out multiple times and follow
Mhm.
them. And I just think that's a really unique feature of your organization.
Yeah, and as far as I know, we are the only one. I have never, in 11 years we've been doing this, I haven't heard of any other organization that does the exact same thing we do. Like you said, they go on a hunt of a lifetime. They go on whatever animal they're doing, and after they're done with that hunt, they thank them, and they don't see them again. Where us, if you
Right.
come to our organization, it's 7 years old. We take you turkey hunting and deer hunting and pheasant hunting. We take you dove hunting, goose hunting. We take you Erie walleye fishing. We do trout season in PA, and then after that, you come back next year. And
Yep.
when you age out at
Right.
17, then that's when you're officially done. But
Right.
now that we've started the over 17, heck, they can be with us until the end of their day. So
Right.
Right.
but we're trying to give back and help as many kids as possible. So I
Dan,
think
you
I
mentioned
counted it up.
pheasant.
Yeah, I counted it up. I believe it was at the end of July, and total it's been about 234 kids.
Wow.
Wow. Man, that's phenomenal. You mentioned pheasant hunts. What kind of pheasant hunting do you guys do? You going in with dogs, or you doing like tower
Yeah.
hunts?
Nope, we go
This
with
is people
dogs.
with
Yeah.
gotcha.
Yeah, we
How's
go.
that work out, man? How are you able to get the chairs in? Everywhere we go or people we talk to, everything's different. Some of the guys have, like an ATV with a front platform and you can get a
Yeah.
chair on the front of it or
Yep. Yep.
how do you
We have
guys
one.
do it, Dan?
Yeah, we have one of those platforms with the ATV. We have a plain platform where you can drive your chair on it or track chair or whatever you got to do. And
Right.
then we also have a seat option where we can put a seat on there, where if you're in crutches or cerebral palsy or whatnot, where you're still able to
Right.
walk, but we can put you on the seat that way. Or there's other kids out there that that are able to walk. They walk right with the adult. So and we put the birds out one, 3 or 4 at a time, and take out 2 or 3 kids at one time, and a dog in points, and we treat them like they're just a plain adult. We try not to um, discriminate against them for having an illness.
Right.
Right.
We take them out there just so they can have fun, just like we can.
And and Dan, just so people know, this is at a private reserve that you guys are going to be doing in January. So there's no hunting license
Yeah,
required.
yeah. It's
Um,
it's over where our hunting camp is, and it's private ground. We have it posted for the kids all season, so we're able to hold that. They're not required to have a PA hunting license or a pheasant license or anything like that. So that kind of is a benefit to us because you get somebody from out of state. They don't want to come in here and pay out of state fees for a license, and then you got to buy a
Right.
pheasant tag, and
right.
so it helps out quite a bit.
Yep. Yep. Dan, as far as volunteers go, I know you have a good core group of men and women who work with your program. And
Mhm.
if somebody wanted to volunteer, are you guys looking and what's that process like with clearances and all
Yeah,
of
we're
that?
always looking for volunteers. Each and every hunt, they're always looking for volunteers because not everybody can make everything. People have lives too.
Mhm.
And you just go to the website, nevinshuntingfriends.com, and you can get on there and fill out an application for one to be a hunter, for two to be a volunteer. And if you're a volunteer, you got to fill out your child safety clearances and then the PA background check, and then those come back to you. You just send them over to me, and we're good to go.
Dan, a lot of people always try to figure out how these organizations function. Where do you find funding? Where do you guys see that you get your most funding for Nevins?
Well, we rely on a lot of donations.
Hmm.
And we go to different events throughout the summer and fall. The Butler Farm Show. We go to our local Walmart. Believe it or not, we sit out front and we can collect some money for that. But we'll
Yeah.
just go to different parades and different functions throughout the year, and that's how we raise money. The sponsors that we have are product sponsors.
Yeah.
Just to give you, for instance, we have um, Ozonics, which is a big company out there.
Right.
They'll send us a couple units a year for the kids. Believe it or not, um, when you have illnesses, there's not the same two out there. And I've been doing this for a long time. I've never seen the same two. And you guys probably should be aware of this, but when you go to a hospital setting, there is an odor in the hospital, and when you go into a room, there's an odor that they call that the medical odor. And when you're
Hmm.
using ozonics, if you have an open wound or if you have a fracture or if you're taking any kind of medication for anything, there's a smell. and
Sure.
and when you have the ozonics in there, it takes that away.
Mm.
And the guys at Ozonics have been really, really great. They've been with us for 10 years, and I cannot complain one bit. And, right now I think we have about 15 units. So we got
Y-
that part covered, and there's a lot of other product sponsors out there. We have blinds, we have chairs, we have all kinds, and they're all products that, we are so thankful for to have them.
Dan, you bring up a really good point, and Mike and I are certainly aware of this. We've been injured 30 years and 27 years, and
Hmm.
we both have pressure wounds right now, and that requires daily changing of those
Yeah.
bandages. And
Yeah.
bow hunting is especially challenging because there's only so much we can do with the odor associated with our chairs and our cushions and
Right.
That's it.
getting in. And no matter how clean we are or how much scent control we try to be aware of, I'm sure ozonics could definitely benefit a lot of
Oh
hunters
yeah.
with disabilities just because of the wheelchair and everything associated with it, with our bags and everything
Hmm.
else. So that's awesome that they do that. And I was talking with you off camera a little bit too, and you said that part of your charter, you're unable to fund these adult hunts through donations to Nevins Hunting Friends, and you're kind of relying on outside sources. And you have a couple of local sports shops that are even donating the shells for this hunt. You want
Yeah.
to talk a little bit about that too, and we'll give those
Yeah.
guys a shout out.
Yeah, being we're a 501c in our bylaws, it states that all monies have to go towards the kids, no matter
Hmm.
what it's for. So, being we're taking adults out, we're not able to use those monies for the adult hunt. We can use our location, but we just because it doesn't cost any money, but we can't use any other funds. So we reached out to a bunch of people around the area for donations. We have a corporation that out of Beaver, which is between you and I, Mike, and we're they reached out and sent us a corporate sponsorship for it. We're just trying to get enough funds to pay for the birds, one, and pay for the food, because we'll give them a luncheon and stuff like
Yep.
that. So we want to do that. And right now, we got enough money to pay for the birds, which is, birds are not cheap.
Right.
So they're very expensive. I got 50 birds ordered, so if you know the price of it. So, but right now we're working on food and we're almost there, and it's going to be a go. So, I'm happy to see it. I just hope it's good weather, being it's in January. But I believe next year, if everything's a success, it's going to be held in the fall. That way we're
Nice.
not dealing with this weather. Because I don't like the weather the way it is, other than working in it. But, when you're trying to hunt in it and somebody's in a chair, what I mean, you got to have proper clothing and
Right.
stuff like that. And
Right.
a lot of people wear blankets and stuff when you're in a chair and stuff like that. So, we don't want blankets falling in the snow and stuff like that. So, it'll just be better off for everybody in general if it's held in the fall.
But think of it
Right.
like this. But think of it like this, Dan. This is the inaugural hunt for adults with disabilities, and heck, you got 20 signups already
Yeah.
for the month of January. So that just
Yeah.
speaks volumes to the amount
Yeah.
of need and interest when you're doing something like that.
That's it. And the motto when I sent it out, I said, if you can get here, we'll take you, and
Right. Right.
because I can't take the funds and pay for the parents' fuel or airplane ticket or whatnot because it's not for the kid.
Right.
So,
Right.
there's loopholes in through that. So, I told everybody, if you can get here, I mean, you're welcome to stay at camp. You can do that. And I have people from Texas coming,
Mhm.
Alabama. There's one gentleman from Ohio, New Jersey, New York, Michigan. I got people from all over coming. You
That's
know,
fantastic.
particularly, I wish I had a bigger place. So,
Right.
but so, but
That's what it's about. Just raising awareness. Like you said, sitting out in front of Walmart, telling people about what's going on, how they can
that's
get
it.
involved. No one organization can do it all. You brought up a point. You can only have so much property. And so,
Mhm.
Dan, it comes down to the point you can't do all the food plots and you can't, get all the
That's
birds
it.
out there by yourself. We all need help. I'm just glad to see so many organizations coming up and partnering with you. And that's what me
Yeah,
and Greg absolutely love to be able to do is just highlight everything you guys have been pouring into it and to see more and more organizations build into it
yeah,
and to see the benefit, not just of a harvest, just getting somebody back outdoors.
yeah, yeah. Getting them out there, that's 99% of it. You know,
Absolutely.
if you get a
Absolutely.
harvest, that's just extra special. But getting them out there is the name of the game. I
Right.
you know, I took Greg out. Last year we took Greg out for a farmer's tag. I got him out there. We didn't see no deer, but he
Yeah.
had a smile on his face. We're chit chatting and shooting the breeze, and he's having a good old time. I'm having a good old time, and that's what it's about. You know what I mean?
Exact,
Absolutely.
That's
exactly,
it.
Dan. And
It
I,
was no snow on the ground. It wasn't freezing, but it was a good time.
it, it,
And
it really wasn't. I'm glad you brought that up that we did go out because I want to tell people, I mean, you have it set up really, really well with, farmers in your area, and you had the enclosed trailer there that was all set up for wheelchair access. And then you also had the Be Adaptive equipment that, I didn't have to bring anything. I could just show up and go hunting with you.
mhm,
And Mike and I are fortunate that we've been hunters for a long time and we have the equipment, but that's something that if somebody's thinking in the back of their head, hey, I don't have a shotgun or
Hmm.
I don't have a rifle set up with a sip and
yeah,
puff trigger, how am I going to do that? Your organization can provide that.
yeah, we have one. I get that all the time. Hey, I'll take you out hunting. Just for instance, I go to the farm show, and if I see a kid there, hey, do you hunt and fish? Well, I like to, but I can't do this and I can't do that. And
Right.
one of the mottos, if you guys ever get a chance to come up here and see the kids, which you guys are invited to anytime we have an event, you will see a motto on their face. The word no is not an option.
Right.
Hmm.
They will do it at all costs.
Yep.
So with that being said, we have the system. It hooks to a tripod that's outside of the blind, and all you got to do is push a button.
Yep.
Greg, you have the pop.
Sip and puff.
Yeah.
Sip and puff.
Well, we have the double trigger button system, which I will move a control if you're unable to, and I will push the safety button. And when you're ready, however means you can do to push that button, whether it's with your hand or your shoulder or your head, you can even use your
Hmm.
mouth if you wanted to. But all
Exactly.
you got to do is push a little wee button and it'll go off.
Yep.
And our system has a great big iPad, a 12-inch iPad, so you can see for a long ways.
Yes, sir.
Um, what I mean? And it works both for deer and turkey. I have not
Hmm.
used it for pheasant. I don't think it's fast enough for pheasant because when the
Right.
bird's going to fly, the gun ain't going to keep up with it. So
Right.
we're going to have to do a two-man system and hold the front of the gun while the person pulls the trigger. So we're going to have to try that and see how that works.
We're going to have to hook you up with our buddy Chad Wallagira down in Texas. He was just out hunting ducks, and he's got a
Hmm.
zero gravity system that he's working on, and it might be really beneficial for the pheasant hunts in the future for you, Dan. I know you guys got a lot of guys that can make stuff, and I'll hook you up with Chad. You guys can get the plans for that because
There you go.
hunting pheasants and ducks, it's a whole new ball game when
Oh
you're
yeah,
talking about accessibility. But while
yeah.
we're while we are talking about the kids, how did they do this year deer hunting with you?
Deer hunting was a little bit challenging this year because they planted the corn late and the harvest was late. So the corn was still standing during the hunt. So
Okay.
we had to change our tactics, and instead of hunting in the field edges, we had to go further into the woods to see these deer. But all the deer kind of were at the corn itself. They're hiding in the corn. So we took out 15 and ended up with 4 deer. We had 6 shots that were missed. But everybody got to see deer at one particular time, and it was a good day. You know,
That's awesome.
That's always the kicker, man. Being able to talk trash in deer camp, the guys
yeah,
that missed, give them grief, but
oh
everybody's
yeah,
seeing deer, so it's a win-win situation.
it's a
Uh,
win-win. Yeah.
Dan, other than the pheasant hunt, what's some of the other hunts that you guys got coming up? I know you stay super busy.
Well,
Just trying to get a
January.
scheme on it.
Yeah, January is a pheasant hunt, and then we start turkey season, which will be in April. And then we got trout season, which is in April. They're only a couple weeks apart. And then after that, we have our great big picnic for everybody. The sponsors and the parents and all the volunteers, and we get a bunch of people together and have some fun. And then after that, it starts again. Red tag season for deer farmer crop damage starts in end of August. So,
Yep.
we kind of don't get a break, but I wouldn't have it any other way. So,
Yeah.
Dan, you talk about how busy you are, and that's a fact. And what I want to know is, do you ever get an opportunity to go out yourself and hunt? Because I mean, you're always volunteering your time. You're taking folks. You're processing deer. This is your busy time of year. Do you ever get to go hunting on your own? Do you get an afternoon where you get to sneak out of the house?
yeah, I like early archery season. I like to sit in a tree and not freeze. Um, I
Yeah.
like to sit there in a t-shirt and or a hoodie at the most, and just sit there and watch the wildlife. And have been unsuccessful so far this year. But I did get to take. We had for our deer hunt. Our editor came down for our videos, and he came down. I took him out, and he ended up getting a big 8 point uh,
Nice.
on Sunday. So because the hunt was Saturday and he hunted on Sunday. So
Sunday hunting is a huge thing in Pennsylvania this year. We had
mhm.
Representative Mandy Steele on, and she actually
Yep.
wrote that bill to get it passed. And we're so appreciative of Sunday hunting because, as a person with a disability, that basically doubled my season.
Mm.
Relying on people to take off work and be able to take me out. Well,
Mhm.
before that was only on a Saturday. Now I have the option of hunting on Sunday, so that basically doubled my season.
Yeah.
And Danny, the other thing I'd like to ask you, we ask a lot of our guests this is, what would be your dream hunt? What animal or where
Yeah.
would you want to go that would really, be at the top of your bucket list?
The top of my bucket list, I would have to say probably moose.
Moose. Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I'd have to say.
Any place in particular you want to chase moose or just get after them wherever they're at?
No, I don't. I really don't know too many places other than Newfoundland or Canada. I don't know too many, but I'd be willing to go. You know, but I can't. If I take Nevin, I can't fly because he don't like heights. So,
Oh,
Yeah.
so yeah, we got to drive.
That
dude,
cuts out a good bitty.
I don't like heights either. I never liked working up on my roof. I get up and did it, but I always like skydiving. So you figure you figure about height.
Yeah,
It's like when you're swimming in a lake, if it's 10 feet deep or if it's 300 feet deep, it's all the same.
that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So,
I probably won't ever do that. I think I'm enjoying just taking other people out and getting
sure.
them out there. So I get more out of it than going myself.
Dude, we get it, man. Greg and I do the exact same thing a lot. And I want to be around and watch the smiles and the camaraderie, and especially somebody that hadn't been in a very long time and you're finding new ways to get them back out. But man,
That's
I
it.
don't blame you, dude. Moose, delicious. Uh, it's a heck of a creature, too. I mean, these things are
Yeah,
monstrous. People have no idea. Elk, man, that's still on the top of my priority list. I gotta get on a good one, but. I tell you, man, Saskatchewan's got some good moose, Dan, and so does Alaska. They're just loaded.
yeah, yep.
I I know Mike always wants to go after elk, and that's his dream animal. I'd like to go after a bison. I'd like to really get a buffalo. I think that would just look spectacular on my wall and make a nice pelt for the bed. And I
Hmm.
always I always just think of like Jeremiah Johnson and
Oh yeah,
the guys going out west, for buffalo. I'd I'd
right.
I'd love to fill the freezer with that. That's probably the top of my bucket list right now.
Great movie, Greg. You just have to learn to skin those grizzlies, man.
That's right, brother. That's right. Well, Dan, is there anything else that you'd like to talk about on today's podcast? we love what you're doing, man. We're huge supporters of you, and you
Absolutely.
you always give us a shout out, and we are happy to be a sponsor of the pheasant hunt and get the word out for people. And is there anything that we didn't talk about today that you'd like to mention? Yeah, going on.
No, I mean, if there's somebody out there, kid wise, 7 to 17, and if you have an illness or a disability, or, you all you got to do is fill out your application, and we don't disclose your illness to anybody. It's between you and
Right.
us, and that's confidential, but we'll get you out there. If you're having trouble, you want to learn, to go hunting and fishing. Not everybody likes both sports. If you like fishing, we'll take you fishing. If you like hunting, we'll take you hunting. We're not going to make you
Mm.
go.
Right.
If you're out there and you're local to us, and you have an illness but you're kind of iffy, come on out, and we'll send you out there with somebody else, and you can just watch. And
Yep.
see what we're talking about. Putting a smile on their face is worth $1 million. It's
Yes,
like winning
sir.
the lottery. And
Dan,
Yeah.
Dan, you just brought up a really good point, and this is primarily a hunting podcast. We talk about hunting a great deal, but to have the opportunity to take a child out 7 to 17 that doesn't necessarily want to go hunting but wants to go in the outdoors, you offer spring trout, taking people out fishing
yeah,
and trips to Erie, and not everybody does that. A lot of hunting organizations are only hunting related. I'm really glad to hear that you do fishing, because I think that is a great introduction to the outdoors for a lot of kids that may not necessarily want to kill an animal. They want to do the catch and
that's it.
release with fishing.
Yeah, you can catch and release and put the fish back in there, and it's all good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some of the stuff we've been trying to introduce too is just survival. How do you build a fire? How do you do this and that? And we're looking at it from a mentor standpoint, because some of these guys and girls, especially in that age group, 7 to 17, they don't even know how to tie a tie. And
yeah,
so if we can just get in there and find out what their needs are, help facilitate those needs, you're starting to find out more. But guys, it comes back to the same thing. We say it over and over again. The outdoors just has a special place of being able to get somebody grounded and get them back to some
mhm,
normality. And these young folks, man, they just need a hand up. They're not looking for a handout. And Dan, man,
that's
we
it.
truly appreciate everything that you're doing, man. And
Yeah,
you're setting a high standard.
yeah. Well, I mean, I'm going to tell you guys something, and it's some people might be offended by this, but this is the God's honest truth. There's some people that will give a child an electronic and sit on the couch
Right.
and not
Yeah.
do nothing, rather than get out there and do something. If
Yeah.
you if you put that thing down and come out and grab a fishing pole
Yeah.
and do a little fishing, even if you don't catch nothing, you're learning something. Back in
Yes.
the day, we
Absolutely.
didn't. You and I, we didn't have electronics. You
Right.
No.
had to go outside. You're throwing rocks on a tree and cracking a stick, and you're doing something.
Yep.
Right.
You,
Nowadays it is so bad.
Dan, you bring up a really good point that it takes effort. It takes a lot of effort to get outdoors.
Hmm.
You have to get up early. The deer and the fish are not on your schedule to get out there at 11 a.m. You have to get
Hmm.
up early. You have to dress properly. You have to eat a good breakfast. You have to be mentally sharp. To be in the outdoors, it takes a considerable amount of effort. And I seen a post the other day, where only hunters get up at 3 a.m. in the morning, hike 2 miles, sit in the cold for 8 hours, and say it was a great day.
Yeah.
It's actually the truth. I mean, it's not an easy task sometimes, and organizations can make it as easy for somebody as possible, but it still takes effort, and it takes getting up off that couch,
Right.
or getting out of your house in your wheelchair, getting to the lodge, getting to the hunting ground. You have to want to do that. You have to put forth that amount of effort, and it's not for everybody, but man, the
Yeah.
rewards that I get out of the outdoors is just phenomenal. The time
Hmm.
I get to spend with friends, family, guys like you, Dan, that want to talk with people that, when I came up to your place, and and met you and Nevin, and we had been talking for a long time online and building a relationship. But when I first got up there and met you guys, it was like we were old friends. Hunt,
That's it.
hunters have a camaraderie that not everybody gets to experience, and that's a shame because I wish everyone
Mhm.
does get to experience that.
And on the other hand, there's kids that want to go, but they don't have the funds to go.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Right.
what I mean? You could have all the gumption in the world, but if you don't have X amount of dollars to get up here and go,
Right.
that's what's stopping you as well. So that's why
Mm.
we ourselves as an organization, if you can get here, we will supply the rest.
Yep.
If
Right.
Yep.
you don't have orange, you don't have hunting clothes, you don't have a gun to use, you don't have a fishing pole to use, we will provide everything that possibly need to go out on a hunt other than you getting here.
Yeah.
Perfect.
You know,
You know,
Dan, man, again, we truly appreciate everything you're doing. We're not sugarcoating that. I enjoy watching what you're doing, and over the years, we've been able to be blessed and get on these podcasts and talk about it. It's not about a harvest. It's about camaraderie. It's about getting
that's
out
it.
and breaking stereotypes and allowing these young guys and girls just to get out, get off the couch, get off the sideline, if you will, and just get back out. And so I know I'm
That's it.
excited to see what you guys do with these pheasants. And I know you're going to be after these deer whenever you can clear up some of that snow.
Oh yeah, yeah. And on top of it, everybody likes watching hunting shows. You turn on the
Oh yeah,
television, everybody likes watching the hunting shows on the weekends and whatnot. You know, we also film the kids as well
yeah,
on their hunts, on their adventures. We film everything from point A to point B. As soon as they leave camp, we're filming them. And we
yeah.
also we put them on TV. It's the only show in America for kids. It's called NHF TV. Season 3 will be out in January of this particular year on PPO TV. So everybody that has Ruco TV or whatnot, you can go on there and look at it, and you can see what we're doing and what the
Right.
purpose is. So
Yes, sir. Well, Dan, we're gonna wrap it up here today, but we hope you and your family and all the volunteers have a wonderful Christmas. And
yeah,
if you need anything else from us on our end, we're always here for you. We love what you're doing. We think getting kids out and getting the adults out pheasant hunting, man. Thank you to all the volunteers and people that make that possible. And
yeah.
we hope you have a wonderful Christmas. And we'll talk to you before the hunt.
There you go. Yeah, we got to get you up here, Mike.
Hey, we're
In,
gonna make that happen sometime or another.
in the summertime, we'll make it easy
Hey,
for you.
hey, we can do it, man. I love PA.
Yeah, that's good. So yeah, I appreciate everything you guys do. Help. Thank you for sponsoring the pheasant hunt for us. With the other sponsors, and everybody can check out what we're doing. Go to nevinshuntingfriends.com. Uh, you can see everything we do. You can sign up. You can even make donations if you wish to. We appreciate
Absolutely.
everybody.
Hey, man, that's what it's all about. Teamwork, right?
That's it.
Yes, sir. Thank you,
That's it.
Dan and Greg. I truly appreciate you guys. It's all about sharing the harvest, but also sharing the adventures and the whole experience as a conglomerate. That's what it's all about. It's making memories.
That's it. Making memories, one kid at a time.
There you go.